Hello again, everybody. My name is Dana Harris, and I am single-handedly trying to make math cool again. We are continuing with our fraction series. This series particularly is on third grade fractions. Now, I know I said that the last video was the last one, but I'm human and I realized that I made a mistake. I forgot one last little thing. So we're going to talk about that. And this time we're going to talk about comparing fractions. So one of the major things that students have to know how to do after they learn how to identify a fraction on a number line and know what a fraction means and all the other things that we talked about with fractions in the third grade, students need to know how to compare the size of fractions. Like, is this fraction larger than this one, or is this one smaller than that one? Anyway, let's get into the math. So let's say we have this fraction 1/3, and then we have this fraction 1/2. And we want to know which one is larger. So with this, let's get visual with it. In the examples that the students may be faced with, they may not have a visual with it. But because I'm trying to help you on the side, I'm going to put a visual with it because most of you are visual learners. So if I have 1/3, remember, or 1/3, there's going to be 3 total pieces. So we're going to draw, let's go rectangle this time, okay? And once again, as always, we pretend that my rectangles are perfect. So 1/3, let's go ahead and shade in one part out of the 3 total pieces. Remember, these pieces are the same size. But then we have 1/2. Okay? And once again, we want to imagine these aren't exactly the same size, but we're going to pretend that these 2 larger rectangles are the same size. If you notice that this 1/2, if I take up half of the whole, it's going to be more than taking up 1/3 of the whole. So that means that this fraction, 1/3, is less than 1/2. So 1/3 is less than 1/2. So that's one example. The other type of example that we want to look at is, what if the denominators are the same? So here the numerators are the same. Well, let's see if the denominators are the same. And this one is typically a little simpler because the number of total pieces are the same. So let's say I have 7/10, and then I have 3/10. Okay? Well, we know the total number of pieces in this first one is 10, and they're all the same. And then the total number of pieces in the second fraction is 10, and they are all the same. So if I have 7 out of those 10 equal-sized pieces in comparison to 3 of those equal-sized pieces. For those of you that don't know about the number 3, it's 3. That's the way I say 3. Another video explaining why. So if I have 7 equal-sized pieces compared to 3 equal-sized pieces, then we know that this is greater than 3/10. Okay? So students need to know how to compare the size of fractions that have the same denominator, or compare the size of fractions that have the same numerator. And just an explanation, what happens is 7 out of the 10 pieces takes up more space than 3 out of the 10 pieces of a whole. Okay? So comparing fractions is a very, very important part of the third grade mathematics curriculum for Common Core. So that's the last major topic that we're going to cover. Now, there are many other, well, not many, but there are a few other small topics in the third grade fractions that I may not have touched on. And if you are a parent or a student that is interested in those small things in between time that the teacher may or may not cover, please feel free to shoot me an email. I'll be glad to make a video just for you. Remember, Young Guru's Math Tutoring. I've got the solution to your math problems. Thanks for having me.